Hello, Algebra 2 folks, and welcome to the last video we have for Chapter 14, putting all the transformations together. You're going to need your notes, pencil, your three colored pencils that you use. Some of you use pens, but I'm going to be using red, green, and blue, as always. And you might need your calculator in order to figure out the amplitude and period. So here we go. Let's get started. You need to have all these examples in your notes. Okay, let's start with just talking about the general idea about how we find amplitude, increment, period, and what represents the vertical and horizontal shifts. Let's just make sure we have this all put together. Well, the amplitude, remember, is the absolute value of A. The period is 2 pi divided by B, so you have to remember, find your A, identify your B. Increment is your period divided by 4. Your horizontal shift is within the parentheses. If you don't have an H value within a parentheses, you do not have a horizontal shift. But if you do, you will either shift it left or right. And remember, that is an x equals line. So you have to have x equals the opposite of H. And then the vertical shift is outside, okay, and that will be an up or down, and you also have to have that labeled as y equals whatever k is. All right, now remember, when you are graphing this, the first thing you're going to do is graph your midline. Your midline comes from what? Yes, the vertical shift. From the midline, you can do the amplitude. Okay? And then label your increments. And once you label your increments, then you can do your horizontal shift. Oops. All right. So that is the order in which you would graph it. Then you identify if you have a sine or a cosine, and then make sure if you have a negative, you take care of the negative sine or cosine. So this is the order in which I will do every single problem. Midline, amplitude, label, horizontal shifts, decide if I have sine or cosine, and then decide if I have a positive or a negative. All right, I got 2 examples for you. Let's go ahead and do these 2 examples. All right, amplitude is the absolute value of A. So in this case, it's absolute value of -1, which is 1. Your period is 2 pi over whatever B is. Well, A is right here. Oh, B is right in front of those parentheses. So that B must be 1. So B is 1. So 2 pi divided by 1 is 2 pi. Increments is 2 pi divided by 4, period divided by 4, which is 1/2 pi. The horizontal shift. The horizontal shift is that green and in the parentheses. So it's x minus the 3 pi over 2. It's x equals -3 pi over 2. Okay, so that's a left shift. The vertical shift is our midline, and our vertical shift is the number outside, so that's up 3, so that's y equals 3, and that's an upward shift. All right, so let's go ahead and take out my pencil and make my x and y axes. There's my x-axis, there's my y-axis. I'm going to go ahead and do my midline first. I'm going to go up 3. Okay, up 3. There's 3. There's my midline. I'm going to label that my midline. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and grab the blue. And I'm going to do my amplitude. My amplitude is 1. I'm going to go up 1 from my midline. That's 4. And I'm going to go down 1 from my midline. That's 2. Okay, I'm going to label my increments. I always label my increments on my x-axis. Not on the red, not on the midline, not on the blues, but my x-axis. So my increments are 1/2 pi. So 1/2 pi, 2/2 pi, 3/2 pi, 4/2 pi. I'm going to go over here and do a couple over here. 1/2 pi, -2/2 pi, -3/2 pi, -4/2 pi. And now I'm going to take my green and I'm going to shift my horizontal. So now my shift for horizontal is left -3 pi over 2. Well, here's -3 pi over 2. So I'm going to say x equals -3 pi over 2. Okay, that's where my horizontal shift is. I'm going to need some more increments on the left side here. So I'll grab my pencil now. -5 pi over 2, -6 pi over 2, -7 pi over 2. That should be enough. Now I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, oop, it's cosine. Cosine always starts high. Okay, but I have a negative out in front. That means cosine is going to start down. The negative makes the cosine start down. So I go to my horizontal shift, and I don't start at the tippy top, but I start at the way bottom. And then on the right, I go up to the midline at the next increment. At the next increment, I go all the way to the tippy top. At the next one, I go back to the midline. And on that next one, I go way down. Now that's 5 critical points. That's one cycle. I don't need to have any other values there. Then on the left, I'm going to go midline, midline, tippy top, back down to midline, and down. And I'm starting over where I had originally started, therefore that should be enough increments. Arrows on both sides. The domain is always all reals because I'm going to get every x value known. And my range is always my blue because that's my amplitude telling me to go up 1 from the midline, go down 1 from the midline. It would be 2 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 4. Okay, that's one example with all the transformations and colors. Let's do one more. All right, this time we're going to do a sine. So we have 3 sine of pi over 2 times x minus 2 plus 1. So my amplitude is a, absolute value of a, which is 3. My period is 2 pi divided by pi over 2. Ooh, that's kind of crazy. So I'm going to say 2 pi times 2 over pi, because we multiply by the reciprocal. The pi's cancel, and I'm left with 4. And then the increment is 4 divided by 4, which is 1. The horizontal shift is our green. Our horizontal shift is what's in the parentheses, and it's opposite what's in the parentheses. So this would be x equals 2, or right 2. Our vertical shift is our midline, which I do in red, and that is the outside number. So this is going to go up, and so y equals 1. We're going to go up 1. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and draw my x and y axes here. I'm going to need to start by going up 1. That's my vertical shift. I'm going to do that in red. That's my midline. Okay, then I'm going to do my amplitude in blue. And I have to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3. That puts me at 4 for the high of my waves. And the low of my waves will be -2. Because I'm going to go down 3 as well. So for between 4 and negative 2 is where my graph is going to be. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and graph my increments. My increments are going to be by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. I'm going to go right 2 on my horizontal shifting. So that's going to put me here, which means I'm going to need a little bit more on the right-hand side for my cycle to repeat. So 5, 6. All right, domain is going to be all rails. I can go ahead and do range before you even graph it. The range is, remember, your amplitude. So it'd be negative 2 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 4. That's why I always have you write those numbers down. It's a quick, what is my range? And now I'm going to decide that I have a sine and it is positive, and sine always starts in the middle. So I'm going to go to 2 because that's my horizontal shift. I'm going to go to my midline. I'm going to make a point, and then sine is a positive, so we go up to the tippy top, back to the midline, down to the bottom, back up to the midline. And that's one complete cycle. Then I'm going to go down, midline, up to the tippy top, and back down to the midline, and that's another complete cycle. And I have just graphed a sine using all transformations. So that will be all, and I thank you for taking good notes, and we will be back to practice this in days to come.